Well, you're all very welcome here to the sunshine in the fabulous surroundings of the Oval. Delighted to say I'm joined now by one of the doyens of local Irish League sport, indeed all sport, Stephen Beacom of the Belfast Telegraph. Beaky, it's hard to believe. It's as if the league is only finished and now here we are, we're starting again.
It's incredible, Logie, it really is. And this season, I think, is a fascinating season. Cliftonville were brilliant last time around and of course deserved to win the title, but Linfield are going to come back at them big style. The Blues have made some sensational signings, I think, over the summer, and I think we're in for a brilliant season, much better than last season, funny enough.
I have to say it too as well, whenever you take a look at the European adventure, even before we get to the Irish League, the local sides did so well. Augurs well, as you say, for the incoming season.
Well, wasn't it great to see Cliftonville packed whenever Celtic came to town, and the atmosphere that night was just phenomenal. And then Linfield, boy did they turn it on, and how unlucky were they against the Greeks. On another night they'd have gone through, Logie, but it just wasn't to be. But it does show you that Irish League football can stand tall when it comes up against these big European teams, and hopefully the quality will be there this season and domestically as well.
Some people are very quick to ridicule the local game and they go into Europe, but I look at Crusaders, they even got a goal in their European adventure. You look at the Glens, they got a scoreless draw away from home. It shows that overall this league, despite what some of the critics might think, the league is actually of quite a high standard.
Yeah, it is a good standard. It's easy to criticise. I've done it myself, particularly whenever our teams have been in Europe and they've showed a lack of ambition and a lack of quality. But I do think things are improving, and you have to give a lot of credit to the managers around for that. Tommy Breslin, Eddie Patterson, David Jeffrey, these guys have all been around the corners and they know what needs to be done now in Europe, and experience works for a lot. And I believe that Irish League football this season could maybe take a step forward as well.
Now you talk about that they know what needs to be done on the European scene. Here we go again, being a wee bit critical too. Do the IFA know what they need to do when it comes to selling the local game? I feel there's not enough of the selling of the Irish League by the IFA. That might be very harsh, but I still believe it.
Well, the Irish FA, of course, have rubbed their hands off the Irish League this season, because it's not now under the auspices of the IFA, it's under the Northern Ireland Football League, and it's going to be interesting to see how that develops. Sometimes I wish the Irish FA, when they had the Irish League in their control, would have given it a lot more publicity, would have given it a lot more oomph, because they certainly do that for the Northern Ireland national team. But now it's up to the Northern Ireland Football League to show the way, and we can only hope that the powers that be deliver for local football, Logie.
The odd news conference I always felt just wasn't enough. I almost felt if it wasn't for the local media and the local broadcasters, the Irish League would get very little publicity.
Well, that's true, and sometimes the local media is criticised for not giving enough to the Irish League, but without the local media, Irish League football would have nothing. And I think the fans deserve coverage in the newspapers, coverage on television. It's great that McLean's are doing this, it's fantastic to see, and of course they have backed Irish League football, and maybe the powers that be should look at those different elements and think, well, if they can do all that, maybe we should be doing something too.
Now, Piggy, you talked about the fact that Linfield have made some super signings. Cliftonville clearly worthy champions last year. Where do you see the league panning out? Is it between those two? Will the Glens here, will they have a say? What about Crusaders? Is there an outside? Is there a dark horse? What about the new boys?
I genuinely think the title race this season, Logie, is going to be a two-horse race. Cliftonville were brilliant last season, but it's one thing winning the league title and it's another thing retaining it. They are going to be the team that everybody wants to beat this season, because they come to everyone's ground being champions, and it's going to be interesting to see how they react to that and how they adapt to that, because they are going to face teams who are just going to be given absolutely everything, 150%, not just 100%, to try and beat Cliftonville, because they are the big name in town now. And Linfield perhaps can take advantage of that. All of a sudden Linfield aren't champions, and that's going to be strange for them, but it might just be welcome as well going into a new season. They've got a lot of good new players. They've signed Andy Waterworth, Sean Ward from Glentoran, and those were two of the best players that Glentoran had last season. I think Johnny Tuffy's going to be a vital signing for them as well. And then you look at the players who have been there and done it. Maybe they'll be reinvigorated. People like Michael Galt, people like Jamie Mulgrew, people like Peter Thompson, they'll be reinvigorated, having not won the title last season, to come back and show that they're not finished. So Cliftonville are going to have their work cut out, and the Linfield-Cliftonville tussle, I think, is going to be fascinating to watch.
Are the rest of them, including the likes of the Glens here, they're going to be also round, so they're going to be playing for the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th places?
I think if you give Glentoran 3rd place right now, they would take it. You have to remember that Glentoran have lost a lot of quality. I've mentioned Waterworth, I've mentioned Ward. They've lost the experience of Colin Nixon. Stephen Carson has gone to Coleraine. So Eddie Patterson's going to have his work cut out. What Eddie Patterson did last season was nothing short of a miracle, getting Glentoran to an Irish Cup final and actually beating the champions to win it in what was a fantastic performance. The man of the match for me that day was, of course, Waterworth, and he's no longer there. So Eddie's going to have a really tough task. If Glentoran were to win the Irish Cup again and to finish 3rd in the league title race, I think that would be an unbelievable season for Glentoran.
And Piggy, can I ask you, Ballinamallard were a breath of fresh air last season. What about the new boys? What about Ards? What about Warren Point? Can they make an impact like that as well, do you think, this season?
It's going to be difficult for them. Ballinamallard came in and they were a breath of fresh air. They played brilliant football. I think one of the big factors for Ballinamallard was that the other teams didn't really like travelling to Fernie Park. For whatever reason, Logie, that once they get past the Ballygully roundabout, the boys from Belfast don't really like it. And it was great to see for Whitey Anderson and his team, who put in great shifts wherever they went last season. And I think Ballinamallard this season, if they finish in the top 8, they'll be happy. The finishing in the top 6 last season was incredible. Bar Cliftonville, they were the story of the season, but top 8 this season would be great. In terms of the new boys, Ards, I think they'll be okay in terms of saving themselves from relegation. Ards is a great football town. It's a pity they don't play in Newton Ards at the moment. That's a real bugbear of mine, and I would love to see Ards Football Club back in Newton Ards one day, but I think they'll have enough about them to save themselves. Warren Point, that is going to be a different story, because they could be like lambs to the slaughter unless they get a quick start to the season. They have to start well, otherwise the pressure's going to be on. And I'd love to see Warren Point do well, because Barry Gray's a lovely guy, and I know he'll play football the right way with that team, but it's going to be a big ask for them. And sad to say, if you're asking me who's going to finish bottom right now, I'd have to say Warren Point.
So you'll be saying in the Telegraph and here with McLean that Warren Point are the one that's going to struggle. And listen to what you're telling me. It's almost as if you have a sneaking suspicion that maybe David Jeffrey and the Blues might bounce back and take the title.
Well, David Jeffrey is not a loser. When you look at last season's record, Linfield just lost just about everything. I would go as far to say, Logie, that it was the worst season I can remember from a Linfield team. They were abysmal, and David Jeffrey just won't stand for that. He's already brought in good players. The players that were already there know that basically if they don't deliver this season, they'll be out in their ear. And I think what happened in Europe has given them confidence. So I would be tipping Linfield for the title, but Cliftonville are going to run them close. There's no question about that. Tommy Breslin's built up a really good squad there, and Cliftonville won't want to be known as one-season wonders. If you remember back in 1998 when Cliftonville won the title, they sunk like a stone the next few years, and this Cliftonville side, that won't happen. I'm sure about that. They've got too many good players like Liam Boyce, George McMullen, who I have a lot of time for, Barry Johnson, and I think Tommy Breslin's the sort of guy that will just keep on top of them the whole time. In terms of other teams to look out for, I think Portadown could have a decent season this time around. I don't know why, but I've just a hunch that it might be Ronnie McFall's last season at the helm. I know that's a big statement to make, because Portadown without Ronnie McFall is like fish and chips without salt and vinegar.
Did Anne tell you this?
No,
this might be Ronnie's last season.
That is just a hunch. That is just a pure hunch. I haven't been talking to Anne all summer. I've been letting her just enjoy the nice weather. So, but I just have a hunch. Alex Ferguson has gone. And if you remember, Ronnie McFall came in at Portadown at the same time as Alex Ferguson came in at Manchester United, and Ronnie might just be thinking, well, I stayed a year longer now, Fergie. There should always be a place for Ronnie McFall at Portadown if he does step down, of course, because the guy's a legend. But I think they'll finish top 6. I think Coleraine will do their usual, flatter to deceive. They'll do well maybe starting off the season and then fall away, but again top 6. Glentoran top 6 as well, and then the people who will probably finish bottom 6 are the likes of Glenavon and Dungannon, but they'll go on good cup runs. Ballymena United's another interesting one for me. They won the County Antrim Shield last season, and then once the players won that, it was as if they downed tools, as if they just stopped because of that glory night in the County Antrim Shield final. So it's a big season for them. They've got to show that they're capable of contending again. But up at the top of the table, Linfield-Cliftonville is going to be a fascinating battle, and it's brilliant for Maclean's this, because suddenly I've found a bit of a spark of interest in Irish League football, and that means people will be going into bookies. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of people going in. Linfield-Cliftonville play early season, and you could see that Saturday morning quite a few people going into Maclean's bookies to wager a few pounds.